Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the agenda up there and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Lilly.
Here.
Mizell.
Here.
Rustin.
Here.
King. Phillips.
Here.
Mayor Mitchell.
Here. So I'll give you a few minutes to take a look at it. We've got a fairly busy agenda tonight. Hopefully most of this stuff will go pretty quickly, but take a look and see what's on there. And as always, the first item on the agenda is the consent agenda, approval of the minutes for the September 6th regular meeting and approval of the minutes of the special called council meeting on September 13th. Are there any recommended corrections, changes, additions, deletions to the minutes? Okay, if not, let the record show that the minutes are approved with unanimous consent of those present. And it's that time for department head reports, and Sasha's gonna, Sasha, I'm sorry about that. I had a hard time learning to say it the other way for somebody else, and now I'm messed it up. Anyway, you've got it, Sasha.
So tonight, our report is brought to you by me,
What's your, state your name?
Lieutenant Sasha R. Knight.
Thank you.
For safety, currently we have two that are on duty injuries. They are following up with their doctor reports and everything right now, and we're just awaiting them and their report to come back. On our budget, we are currently on course with our 2022 budget. Our personnel is fully staffed. We have new vehicles here and should be on the road soon. We're getting them fully equipped and hopefully 10 and strike next week. So they should be on the road. That'll be two of the chargers. Equipment is in good shape. Always want more though. Training, our training is continuing throughout the year. We still have other officers lined up, still signing up for classes, still going to classes, which is always good and always helpful. Safety concerns and issues. Chief has on here school traffic. I think those concerns were put to sleep today. I think the parents are cooperating very well over there at Elvin Hill on the new traffic flow, so I think that's getting better. Highlights and opportunities. Our Public Safety Award is going to Corporal Rittenhouse this year. She is nominated for Officer of the Year. On January 6th, she responded to a house fire on Magellan Lane. Once on scene, she discovered an elderly female who was bedridden and still inside. Corporal Rittenhouse entered into the house and found the female in a smoke-filled room. Corporal Rittenhouse also used bed sheets to remove the female from the house and to safety. And for that, we are grateful and we're thankful she is with us and on our team. So she will be awarded that September the 28th at that ceremony. I also like to present you guys, this will be the last thing and I'll let the other department head have the floor, is one of our challenge coins that we just now received.
Oh, great.
Challenge coins, as you can see, when you get one, they have our patch and they also have our shield on it. They also have 3 of our core values, which are values, courage, and service. We would like each of you to have them. Wait a minute.
Just one.
You ain't done
Thank
that
you.
good of a
That'll-
job.
I'm happy to have that. That'll be join my collection.
Yes.
You wanna hold on to one?
Yes, I'll keep Kim's.
Challenges are usually used to build connections, build relationships with others. They also used to award individuals of the duties they are doing extremely well. So y'all are doing a fairly well job.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Any questions for Lieutenant Knighton?
These are nice.
They are.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no questions, we'll move on to administration.
Everything is going well in administration. We will be closing our fiscal year 22 in October. The 23 budget is on tonight's agenda. Everything is going well, and my next training will be October 19th through 21st for clerk training. That's all I got.
Where's your training?
And Tuscaloosa.
Where?
Tuscaloosa.
Yay.
Any questions for the clerk? Okay. Municipal Court, we have the judge here tonight.
I didn't have my, I forgot my little sheet, so let me get.
Everything's green, just read it.
Yeah, he's moving up to read
I
it.
got you a little closer.
So you can see it.
Yeah, everything's running alright. We've got our budget approved, upcoming year. The prosecutor and myself will be going to our trainings at Gulf Shores, by the way, not Tuscaloosa.
That's a whole lot
We
better.
will go actually Thursday, it'll be a half day Thursday, half day Friday, and half day Saturday. Everything's running along. Lisa and Terry will get their graduation there. They're at the same place we are. They're on in the same city. They're in a different location. And the good part about that, Alan has to wear a tie to go. Get Terry get her diploma. Everybody's excited about that. But everything's running along smoothly. The only concern I have is that we had I have no explanation for it. We had a very bad attendance last court. I have no explanation. That just happens sometimes. Everybody that didn't show up will get a unkind letter that says, why didn't you show up? And we've got a lot of money on the books that we are collecting, although the collections are slow. I think that may be a reflection of the downturn in the economy. But everything is running along well. Our ticket counts or our case counts are stable and up a little bit. Police department, I understand, is fully staffed
Full staff.
at this time, for the first time in a while.
Yes, sir.
And so that should bode well for us, but everything is good. And again, you're welcome to come. First court date's better than the second court date. It sometimes can be quite riveting. Excitement is sometimes just stealthy. But nevertheless, everything is running along. I have no complaints, no issues. The police officers are communicating well with my prosecutor and my defense counsel. Court time has actually been reduced, which is good for me. So, any questions?
Well, if Al does wear a tie, take a picture, because I've already seen him in an Auburn sweatshirt on Facebook this month. So.
Wasn't pretty, was it?
Well,
It was interesting.
Well,
It
the
was
fact that it was
interesting.
an Auburn sweatshirt had to make it pretty.
It was interesting.
All right, any other? Okay, thanks, Judge. Public Works, you're on, Al.
Yes, sir. Everything's running smooth. I'm talking about still down. Everything's yellow and stuff. Y'all know what well as I do today. Everything's running fine. I'm talking about our big truck is still in the shop. Waiting for him to get to it to see what's wrong with it.
The big garbage truck.
Big garbage truck. Don't know yet. I tried to call him today and he didn't answer his phone, so he's out in the shop somewhere. I did hire 2 young gentlemen last week. So far, they both showed up every day.
It's good. Good.
One's been out with his sister died, Kim White, and she died. That was her brother that I hired and stuff, but he's been out and went to the funeral today. And I've had a couple more applications turned in that I just don't look at.
Good.
Other than that, everything is running smooth. You have been by, not stealing on Ricky Strong from Park and Rec, but you've been by both field, and it looks like it was awful. That's all I'm gonna say. There's more rotten wood up there than there was good wood if we having a replace on that, on the press box and stuff. They've got the metal top on it, but it's had a lot of water damage on it from over the years. That thing, I know it's over 40 years old.
It's older than me.
It's old.
That's right. It's all relative.
But other than that, everything's running smooth. Seemed like the light situation working out fine and everything. We don't have, they had come and set the new park playground up yet. I thought they'd be able to rain, has got them behind everywhere else, but other than that, everything's running smooth.
So I have a couple questions about that. So you already answered one about hiring the 2 employees, but we're gonna be talking about the budget, and the capital is in there. And there weren't 2 pickup trucks in that
No, that's
request.
the old stuff that we should have done took off.
Okay, so that's not there, that's not supposed to be on there. Okay. All right, any other questions for Ryan?
I do. Do you have any update on the trolley lift?
I think he was, come Sunday, Marcia got one of the boys out at the bus shop, he was supposed to come by Sunday, to adjust it, cause he had the tools to do it with.
Okay.
She didn't say nothing about it today, but I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, if you check, 'cause I know I think she had to borrow Allie's in the center a little while there. Okay, I was just wondering.
See, he was supposed to, Craig was supposed to come by last Sunday and adjust it.
Okay. All
I'll
right.
find out tomorrow and let you know.
Just touch base with you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, so board reports. Do we have a report from the planning commission?
We have met since our last council meeting, but the only thing on that agenda was to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. So we'll meet again, second Thursday, October.
It was a pretty quick meeting.
It was a
then.
very quick meeting,
Okay.
yes.
Has anything come out of the new subdivisions being built out of there? I mean, have we heard any updates or about what, I know they were putting in pipe and all that stuff. Maybe that's
We
another
haven't
conversation.
we haven't gotten anything else
Okay.
for that.
Do you have any update on it or any knowledge?
I know that, water board is met with him last Tuesday and all that.
Now, we're talking about the one
Across the street.
across the street, what's, I forget the name, Saddlewood
That was
Trail?
Saddlewood. Yeah, we haven't heard anything on that.
That's the one you were asking
Yeah.
about, right?
Oh, yeah, we haven't
I know
heard
that
anything
they
on
were
that one.
supposed to be getting some lots ready because they wanted to get folks started on, I think, 40 houses in there, something like that, or 20 something.
So, the one, the expansion of Springs Crossing, which I'm not sure if it's gonna have another name or not. I know they have put in a, construction access road down by the, Human Resources Department, so, construction traffic won't be going through the subdivision. And they've done a lot of clearing and a lot of work, and like to your point, they're putting in a lot of pipe out there now.
Yeah, well, he put in storm drain stuff, he hadn't started on the water and stuff.
Right.
Because they just,
He's gotta put pipe along
I
70.
always said he did, he started in there.
All right. Any other questions about the planning? Recreation Board, you guys just met?
Yeah, last night Ashley stepped in if you'd like. Really, we just talked about what we've got. You know, our youth leagues got fall activity going on right now. Really, just spent some time just recapping of what we, I guess about a year ago, the city committed to do a tremendous amount of things at the softball field, and we just recapped what has gone on there, and I think that's a good story. Al mentioned that they took off the roof, they're resurfacing that press box, so that's a really good thing going on down there. Then obviously the lights, everybody's excited about those, but the next big project is one we included in the grant for it that we taught the county. We're gonna push some of that grant money to next year so we can finish that project, is those dugouts in Bolton. So I contacted the county, and he gave us some ideas of where it not be such a big project overall. So maybe with that, it won't cost as much money and get it done in due time. The plan is there to have it ready to go October 31 and have October 31 to like February of 2023 to get it done. So again, a lot of work's been done, especially in that area for the last year, so it's something we should be proud about. So
Yeah. Quite a bit.
yeah.
You have anything to add?
Other than the seasons are about to start, the fall seasons for softball and baseball, I think in about a week,
Yeah, next week.
so.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments for the rec board? Water Board, you got any updates, Al?
We just met last Tuesday and met with Randy, and they done met with him time I got down there and stuff, and told him what they wanted and stuff, and I think he's kinda in agreement, but he didn't get everything he wanted, but I think he's ready to start on running that water line down Highway 70 and stuff, and, cause you got to do that. Then we passed our budget for this year and everything. Other than that, everybody's still changing meters out, and they're getting close on some of them areas. They've got some areas already complete with electronic reading on it.
Okay. Any questions for Al during the Water Board? So there's one up here that's a surprise. It wasn't on the original agenda. We just added it, and it was because it was an oversight. Heard from the Columbiana Housing Authority last month, actually. And David Nolan's term on the Housing Authority Board expires this month. And he has indicated an interest in staying, and the Housing Authority would like to have him. So I would be willing to put forward David as a nomination for the Housing Authority Board. Is there any other, does anyone have any other potential candidates, or would they, are they willing to move, are you willing to move forward?
I don't have anybody.
No.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to reappoint David Nolan to the board of the Columbiana Housing Authority.
What's that term, 4 years?
It's 5.
5? I'll second.
Okay, let's go ahead and call the roll for that, please.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Mizell,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Memory.
Yes. Okay, so unanimous approval to reappoint David Nolan to the board of the Columbiana Housing Authority.
And there's another one that we didn't add because it came in late.
I'm sorry, I'm supposed to do the beautification board.
Yes.
report because, Lisa.
Oh, okay.
So, the beautification board is gonna meet on Sunday, October 2nd at 1 to decorate for fall, if anybody would like to come and volunteer to help. And then on October 8th, they're doing their Midnight Cafe event at the Grand Hall, and that is like a Halloween kind of spooky, but not really spooky event for kids, and so it's always a lot of fun.
Okay.
Those tickets are $10, and you can buy them from Lisa or Leanne Norberg, who's across from the courthouse in the little barber shop.
Okay. Any questions for the beautification board? Okay, is there any other business that anyone on the council would like to bring up?
Yes, our new library director she will start on September the 27th, which is Tuesday. Her name is Jennifer Combs, and we're just glad to.
Well, that's great. It's outstanding. So look forward to working with Jennifer.
Do you live around here, Miss Lily?
I think Montebello.
As I said when Sheila left, is the old saying is a squeaky wheel gets the grease, but the library never squeaked, and it was running pretty smooth. So hopefully it will continue that way. Okay. Any other business? Okay, mayor's report. I've been gone for a couple of council meetings, so in between the two, on the 15th of September, I met with the Shelby County Chamber of Commerce strategic consultant. They're working on a new strategic plan for the chamber, and there was a questionnaire about how well I thought the chamber was supporting Columbiana, what they could do better, and all that kind of stuff. I also had a telephone call with an attorney representing St. Vincent, which is would like to build a satellite emergency department or emergency facility off of Interstate 65, basically at the tank farm exit. you turn right, it's about a block on property on the right there. They have to, trying to recall exactly what it's called that they need, but basically they have to go out and prove that there is a need for this facility. And so the only thing that I was able to do was share with him information that mostly I have gotten at the quarterly Shelby County Mayors Association meetings, and it's generally agreed that throughout Shelby County that there is a lack of emergency response service in the county, that the wait times are long for EMS vehicles to arrive and transport. And St. Vincent's case is that the problem is there's also a need for emergency room capacity within the area. They call it wall time. Basically, a patient comes in and there's an initial triage, but until they can be treated, they basically are on a gurney on the wall. And what happens is the EMS trucks and med techs cannot leave until that patient is actually brought into the ER and seen by those folks. And so apparently the average wall time in Shelby County is 2 hours, particularly at Shelby Memorial. So their argument is that there's a need for the capacity, and that there is, and this would also assist all the EMS services in the county to be able to respond, because their resources won't be tied up waiting while the folks who go into the emergency department are basically sitting on the wall. What they're seeking is people who will support them when they have a hearing, and I agreed to support them, and I think the police department, as well as our Chief Bowers and Chief Howard from the fire department, have also sent in letters of support. So that was the purpose of that meeting. On the 29th of September, I have a meeting with the ALDOT director, John Cooper, at the regional office in Hoover. It's a subject that I've brought up several times, and it kind of goes to what Sasha was talking about relative to traffic, but I've brought up issues relative to speed limits in various parts of the town, the 25 bypass, traffic lights and turning lanes, and ALDOT did a study. I was at a conference it's probably been a year, where Director Cooper spoke, and one of the things that he said was, if you have something that you want from ALDOT, he said you need to first go to your area engineer or area manager, and then because he says he might say yes, and if he doesn't say yes, go to the regional engineer, and he might say yes to what you want, and if he doesn't, then you can come to Director Cooper. Director Cooper said, don't start with me, because if I say no, you don't have any place to go. Well, I've been to the other two, and they've said no, and I have the letter on the traffic study and the speed limits, et cetera, that from the area manager, which kind of turned us down for a traffic light and some of the speed limit changes. This is my last shot, obviously, so I'm trying to load myself up with information to go take to Director Cooper. So if anybody's got anything that they think they could share with me to be helpful, photographs, for example, because I don't like it at the middle school and whatnot on 25, so that might be helpful for me to take to my meeting on the 29th. And that's really about all I got. Any questions? Okay, so the first item on this agenda is an ordinance approving the sale of city property to Richard Harmon. This was brought up, I believe, at the last council meeting. It was tabled. Should we decide to adopt this ordinance, we will have to suspend the rules to be able to pass this ordinance at its initial reading. But before we do that, I wanted to provide a little bit more information and detail, if you will, and then we can move on. So basically, this is the area that Mr. Harmon wants to purchase. This is his property, his house right here. So the property is adjacent to his house. This is our pole barn and where our equipment is stored right here. This is City Hall. That's the fire department. And this, of course, is the aerial view. This property is zoned R3, which is a residential zoning. It allows either single-family or multi-family dwellings on that particular property. In conversation with Mr. Harmon, he does not, at least he does not, right now at least, intend to put anything on that property. But anyway, he's interested in that property. When he first came to talk to me about it, he was interested in purchasing a strip here. And I said, well, you know, we'll have to get it surveyed and we'll have to get it appraised and all that kind of stuff. And then later on he came and he said, well, I'd just like to buy the whole thing. And again, I told him, well, we still are required to get fair market value, so we'd have to get an appraisal. So we had the appraisal done. And so now I'm bringing it before the council to see if they would be interested in selling it. So before we get into the ordinance, is there any discussion or questions that anybody might have? Okay. So this is the ordinance, and as I said, in order for us to pass it at the first reading, we would have to suspend the rules. So is there a motion to suspend the rules?
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. And we have to do it by unanimous consent. So if you would call the roll.
Councilmember Lilly,
No.
Mizell,
No.
Rustin,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor
Okay.
Mitchell.
Yes. So it's not unanimous consent to suspend the rules, so, which means that we can still vote on the ordinance, the passage of the ordinance, I believe. It's just that, or can we? Can we vote now, or do we have to wait until the next meeting?
You can vote, but we would not be able to, so we would have to have a second reading at the next meeting.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
So you just want to wait till the next one?
Well, I don't know what good it's going to do
That's right.
to do it again, so so I'd like to move that we adopt ordinance 92201 to approve the sale of city property to Richard Harmon. Is there a second? Okay, there's no second, so the motion failed to pass. So I don't know, since it failed to pass, if there is a need for a second reading. Let us look into that for the next meeting, but and we'll move on. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a resolution adopting the 2023 fiscal year budget. We've spent several months, the department heads and I, working on preparing this budget. I'm going to start with a review of where we are in 2022. Basically, because a lot of these funds, which are going to have been unspent in 2022, are going to roll over and carry over into 2023 budget. But as of August, in the general fund, we have a surplus of about $3.1 million here against a planned surplus, of $1.2 million. All funds, that surplus is about $5.3 million against a planned surplus of about $2.3 million. So there's about $3 million of funds that potentially available to carry over. These charts kind of just show you how we have performed. This chart on the left is revenue. This chart on the right is expenses. This is the general fund only, which is basically, for lack of a better term, the primary operating budget for the city. The green lines is the budget line. It's a straight line because, you know, we take our annual budget and then we just sort of spread it equally across each month, so therefore you see it as a green line. Convention is if you're doing bad, like you're not getting the revenue that you should, you would be red. But at the end of the day, this is pretty much right on. You can see where that line is pretty much zigzagging right across the budget line, and it's just a teeny bit behind. So from a revenue perspective, we are, in reality, pretty much spot on to what we had planned thus far in this fiscal year. Now the green line here, this is the planned expenses, and you can see that we have spent a great deal less than we planned and have the surplus. A lot of that, and one of the most significant, is the paving projects that we had planned in 2022. We just recently got our quotes in. We just opened the bids recently, and so that work is pretty much rolling over into 2023. So I wanted to kind of show that before walking into the summary or the overview of the 2023 budget. So hopefully you can read this. And so what we have is our estimated beginning cash. And this is basically what our cash balance was as of the end of August. We've sort of taken a look at, you know, what our expenses are, what our anticipated revenues are, and we believe that cash balance is going to pretty much roll over at close to that number right there, that where we were as of the end of August. The carryover funds, the stuff that we were just talking about that we didn't spend in 2022, is all this stuff right here, and it's about $2.3 million is what our budget has us carrying over into 2023. This is the estimated revenue, which is about $9.6 million. And so that includes the general fund revenue of about 5.3. And then we have these other operating funds, the cemetery fund, the court fund, the sewer fund, about 4.1 million. And then we get our gas taxes and stuff comes in there. So total revenue is about 9.6 million. Like I said, as far as the general fund, stuff that we control, we estimated that pretty much spot on in 2022. I feel good with this. When folks submitted their requested budgets, I played around with every line item, plussed up some, took some down. At the end of the day, we were pretty much in the same place. So it was an exercise almost in futility. So this is pretty much what, or this is exactly what the departments requested. What is a little bit of a guessing game is what we're going to receive, obviously, in these various gas taxes and the capital improvement fund resources that come from the state. So that's a little bit of a guessing game for us, but we have a good history there, and so feel pretty good about those numbers. Expenditures, we've sliced and diced these numbers quite a bit. And so we're looking again at about $12.8 million in expenditures against a $14.1 million budget, leaving us a surplus at the end of the year of about 1.3. Sort of a summary or highlight of what's in this budget. I've already talked about there's $4.5 million of beginning cash and carryover funds. That's this and this number right there added together. There's about $9.6 million in estimated revenue that will come in fiscal year 23. That's this number right here. And of that revenue, there is about $3.5 million of grant funding in there. We've talked about the ADEM grant that we've gotten for the sewer upgrades. There's still some ARPA funding in there, et cetera. So we have that. Expenditures include, we agreed to a 3% cost of living index increase across the board effective 1 October, and we will have our regular merit increases in January. One of the things that we added, Sasha, that I think you'll be happy with is we funded 2 additional resource officers. So the next meeting we have, you'll be 2 people short. okay? You were up to, and hopefully we will have good success at being able to recruit and hire a couple of new people quickly, because obviously the school year's already started. On Thursday, David Calhoun from the Board of Education is coming for me to sign an annual agreement with the Board of Education where they provide funding to support those school resource officers. I had heard that we could anticipate an increase in the funding this year. He confirmed that in his text that he sent me, but he didn't tell me how much. So we'll see what that's going to be on Thursday. And of course, that will just be a bonus as far as our budget's concerned, but I'm excited about that. And then there's about $3.5 million of infrastructure, facility, and capital upgrades. That's sewer system upgrades. We've talked about that in the past. The street paving, I just mentioned that, and the new public works facility are the big drivers right there. So are there any questions or comments about the budget?
No, but as you put that on text there, that's pretty significant for employees to get a 6% raise coming in this next year. That's good.
Well, you know, we're looking at almost about 8.5% inflation.
Yep.
So we would have liked to have been able to do more.
Yep. That's good. Sasha, Lieutenant, when y'all hire these new people, I guess you'll want them APO certified too, right?
Oh, yes. We've already put some on, social media, of course, our Apple, October 1, but hopefully trying to go ahead and get people to turn in applications, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And having them to have put in notices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
far, so we got one, that's our returns out there.
That's good.
Are there any other questions or comments about the budget? Okay, we will go back to the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 92202 for the fiscal year 23 budget?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 092202, 2023 fiscal year budget.
A second.
Okay, and would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Mizell,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, so the fiscal year 23 budget has been adopted. The next resolution is award of the bid for the 2022 paving project, which is actually rolled into 2023. So, Alan, I didn't bring the list of the streets that we are planning to pave. Can you?
Palm Street will be one of them,
What was it?
Palm Street, Center Street, Goodwin, Johnson, Carter's Lane, from
Timothy? Or
all the side roads out on Moon Road, Deborah Drive, North Deborah, Timothy, North Timothy, all those roads out on the Moon Road, off the county road, because they just got through paving that. And,
All of them?
yes.
Wow.
Highway 28 from the stop sign there at the intersection where it hits College Street will be repaved to where the county apron stops there at Murder Street, there going by the school.
Okay.
Then the little road, Washington Street, probably gonna do one lane of it, it's up to there by where actually this little blue house was that he used on there on Washington Street, cause that's coming apart there.
Okay.
We're gonna grind it out and repair it. And I see, and East Third Street, there's one up.
You think from the high school that'll solve that problem?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think I think we had some water issues and stuff there.
I guess
I
the
think that's all of them, it's a little over $5 million that there, we had 3 companies to bid on it, Dawn paid and bid on it, Wiregrass, and Central Alabama. Central Alabama was a long bid.
Wiregrass got the last one last year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Okay, and the bid was $505,000. So is there a motion to introduce the resolution?
I'll make that motion. Did we, yeah. I make the motion, resolution 092203, award the bid of the 2022 paving project.
Yes.
And I think there was a second?
Yes, I got the second, yeah.
And would you call the roll, please?
Should that be 2023?
Well, the contractor named it 2022 when he bid it because I think he was thinking calendar year, not
Okay.
actually fiscal year. Councilmember Lilly, Mizell,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, the next one is the resolution for an ABC license for the Discover Shelby Wine Fest that will be held on when?
October 1st.
October 1st. And that basically will be at the Old Mill Square and that surrounding area all the way out to College Street, I believe. And what this is going to do is there will be vendors from various vineyards and whatnot in Shelby County, and they will be setting up booths. And what this allows is essentially there will be, for lack of a better term, similar to a temporary entertainment district in that area, so that there can be open carry of the beverages that are purchased from these wine vendors in that particular area, which will have to be cordoned off.
So in the future, if we ever get an entertainment district, as long as that event is inside that district, this won't have to take place again, is that right?
No, we would still have to do it because the festival itself has to have a
Okay.
license. And then each individual winery has to have their own license.
Okay.
The difference would be if we had an entertainment district, they could walk from the festival into the entertainment district with an open container.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
That's my understanding too. The thing is you cannot take in the entertainment district, if you purchase a beer, for example, at vendor A, or you cannot take it inside another vendor's place. You can, walk within the entertainment district, but if you decide you want to go in someplace else, you're going to have to trash your cup. And with the wine festival, that's not necessarily the case because all within that area, they'll be able to go from vendor to vendor.
Mr. Mayor, I make a recommendation we accept resolution 092204. It's a resolution for ABC license for the city of Columbiana doing business as Discover Shelby Fest.
I'll second.
Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Mizell,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yep. Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. All right, we're moving right along.
Yes, we are.
Resolution for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan application. So, as you know, we've talked about this in the past. The grant that we received from ADEM for the sewer upgrade was basically a 50-50. It was about a $5.525 million combination grant and loan. So half of it was the grant. The other half of it is a loan at 1.99%. We don't actually activate this loan until we've basically expended the grant money. This project's probably going to take a couple of years to finish. So that's the resolution here, is for us to complete that application and submit it to the state revolving fund for this loan for our sewer upgrade. Just as an aside, I met with Dale today, and our sewer problems actually treatment facility are getting worse. And so there's been a lot of collaboration with ADEM, and I think we're going to have to make some modifications and changes and use the old lagoon for a temporary period of time until we actually start the upgrades on the sewer treatment pond that we're currently using. But there's a plan in place to do that, and I went over that with Dale today. So is there a motion to adopt resolution 92205?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we set resolution 092205. It's a resolution for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan application.
I'll second.
And call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Mizell,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, the last item here is a proclamation proclaiming September 30th as NICU, that's Neonatal Intensive Care Unit Awareness Day. This is kind of close to our hearts. Our son is a pediatric hematologist, oncologist, and I didn't quite honestly know a lot about NICUs, and I still don't, but when he was going through his residency, he was telling me about how the NICU works, and one of the things that he explained to me is that the nurses and the nurse practitioners basically run the NICU, not the doctors, and they treat those babies in that NICU like they're their own kids. When he was doing his residency and working in the NICU up at UMass, it was during the height of COVID, and essentially parents weren't even allowed access to their children in the NICU because of COVID. So those kids pretty much belong to that NICU staff, and they do a tremendous job. So I would like to move that we proclaim September 30th, 2022 as NICU Awareness Day. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, in this case, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed with a like sign? Okay, the proclamation's been adopted.
Those NICUs are great places. My youngest was in there, and it's tough, but it's making the care they need.
Okay, announcements.
All right, so Tuesday, September the 27th is Public Safety Day, which will include the police department and fire department. So they have a lot of fun stuff going on that afternoon. Saturday, October 1st is the Discover Shelby Fest, the wine festival. It's in Old Mill Square Park. October the 8th is the Beautification Board's Midnight Cafe. The 22nd of October is the Main Street Farm to Table Dinner. And then Monster Walk is Monday, October 31st.
For those who didn't participate in the Farm to Table last year, I recommend it highly. It was great. So, as where all these things will be.
What do you buy tickets for that?
They will be for sale soon, and they'll be at the Leader and the Farm Company for sure.
But what's free is public safety night. Next Tuesday, you're all invited.
All right.
And it's 4:30, is it 4:30 to
4:30 to 6:30.
4:30?
What date again, Lieutenant?
Next Tuesday night, it's going
27th.
down.
Mm-hmm.
4:30.
That would be the 27th, right?
Yeah.
Get your throw pies, it's Sasha.
No pies at Sasha. He said.
4:30?
She gets behind the sign at 4:30.
All right.
There'll be a crowd.
All right, great.
Not to be confused with Public Works Day.
Yeah, totally different.
Okay. Are there any comments from anyone else? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.